Let's talk about this big question. Should you really pay off your house in 2024? I'll tell you why you shouldn't in this video. Before we get started, make sure to smash that subscribe and bell button so you don't miss any of our financial tips. Many believe that paying off their home is the key to financial freedom. That's because monthly payments, also known as debt, have traditionally been viewed as a burden, not providing stability or a sense of security. But what if we change this belief to using debt to build your wealth? What's up, everyone? My name is Tommy, and I'm a top producing real estate agent in Chicago. And in this video, we're going to explore how leveraging your mortgage could actually lead you to building greater wealth. Traditionally, mortgage advice is often centered on the principles of minimizing debt, focusing on early mortgage payoff, and choosing fixed rates for predictability. This advice, while it can be sound for certain contexts, it always comes with limitations that might not serve every homeowner's financial situation or their long-term financial goals. So what I want to do here is really deconstruct some of these limitations and counter these common myths with very clear examples and data. The first myth: paying off your mortgage as quickly as possible is always the best use of your money. The reality is, while paying off a mortgage early can save on interest costs and provide a mental sense of relief, it might not always be the best financial decision. Let's say your mortgage rate is 4%, but let's say you could potentially earn a 7% return from investing in a diversified stock portfolio. And you can direct extra money towards investments rather than the mortgage. That could result in a higher net worth over time. Suppose you have $1,000 extra a month. You could either pay down your mortgage early or invest it. Investing could yield a significant return over 20 years. And potentially outpace any savings on interest from paying down the mortgage. You really have to look at it at what best fits your situation, especially if this is not a long-term property or home for you, if you're not going to live there for the 30 years that your mortgage is. Another myth I hear all the time: you should always refinance to a lower interest rate if possible. Well, the reality is, refinancing can often save money over the long term by lowering your interest rate, but it's also important to consider the closing costs associated with it, the term of the new mortgage, and what your financial situation currently is. You see, refinancing to a lower rate, but extending the term of your mortgage may mean paying more interest over the life of the loan. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a $200,000 mortgage at 5% interest with about 20 years left on that loan. And you refinance to a 4% interest rate, but reset the term to 30 years. The lower monthly payments might be appealing. However, you could end up paying more in total interest over the new extended term. That's why it's super important to take a look and compare based on what you have left to what that means to reset to another 30 years based on the lower interest rate. Here's another myth: fixed rate mortgages are always the best option. Fixed rate mortgages provide stability and predictability when it comes to your payments, which brings tons of value for long-term budgeting. However, adjustable rate mortgages, also known as ARMs, may offer lower initial rates, which could be very beneficial for those who plan to move or refinance before the rate adjusts. If you're planning to live in a home for only 5 years, an ARM with a lower introductory rate compared to a fixed rate mortgage like a 30-year fix or a 15-year fix could save you money on interest payments during that period. That's why I always say, especially in Chicago, when buyers are looking at condos, they're probably going to be there for 3 to 5 years. It's not their forever home. So it's super important, if that's the case, really look at ARMs, because those rates typically will be less than what a fixed 15-year or 30-year mortgage could be. So you save your money on monthly payments, and you can also bank on appreciation, especially in a market where there's low supply. Myth number 4, and this one's my favorite one, that you have to have a 20% down payment in order to purchase a home or a property. The reality is 20% down payment can really help you avoid things like PMI, private mortgage insurance, and obviously help secure a better interest rate, but many programs allow for lower down payments. For first-time homebuyers, there's programs through FHA if you're a veteran, utilizing a VA loan, and various state assistance programs can really help facilitate home ownership with down payments as low as 3.5% or sometimes even 0. Let's look at the facts, the data. According to the National Association of Realtors, the average down payment for first-time homebuyers is often much lower than 20%. Many take advantage of lower down payment options. We just need to break the norms. We've been told by our parents that you have to put 20% down, now sometimes 25% down to secure the lowest rate. It's not true. There's so many different resources and programs that are available that allow you to put less down and take advantage of great interest rates too. Whatever the myth is, the bottom line is traditional mortgage advice tends to lean towards conservatism, right? Focusing on debt reduction and stability. Now, while these are very important aspects of personal finance, they don't always align with maximizing wealth or meeting individual financial goals. It's so important for homeowners and potential buyers to really consider their entire financial picture, including investment opportunities, whatever your personal circumstances are, and especially whatever the current economic environment, the market looks like, before you make any decision based solely on conventional wisdom. So let's talk mortgage leverage and arbitrage. They both involve using borrowed money to potentially increase returns on an investment, capitalizing on the difference between the cost of borrowing and the earnings from investment. Mortgage leverage refers to the practice of using borrowed funds, specifically from a mortgage, to invest in another property. The idea is that by borrowing money at a lower interest rate and investing it in a property that appreciates in value or generates rental income, an investor can earn a higher return than the interest that's paid. This can really amplify gains, but also magnifies risk, as the value of real estate, as we all know, can fluctuate. Mortgage arbitrage, on the other hand, involves taking advantage of the difference between the mortgage interest rate and the rate of return on another investment. So for example, someone has a mortgage with a 4% interest rate, but can also invest in a portfolio that yields 7%. The strategy would be to invest any extra funds in the portfolio rather than paying off the mortgage early. The arbitrage comes from the 3% differential, assuming that the investment's return exceeds the cost of the mortgage interest over time. Both concepts, they hinge on the idea of using debt strategically to enhance financial outcomes. However, they require careful consideration of risk, as leveraging and arbitrage can lead to significant financial loss if the property values decrease or the investment returns are lower than what was projected. But is paying off your mortgage truly the best use of your money? Or could you potentially grow your wealth faster by investing that extra money elsewhere? Let's dive into something that might go against the grain, but could seriously turbocharge your financial growth. We're talking about opting for a longer mortgage term. Yes, you heard that right. I said longer, not shorter. I really want to unpack why this could be a game changer for building your wealth. You see, when you choose a 30-year mortgage instead of, let's say, a 15-year one, you're signing up for lower monthly payments. But what does this mean for you? Well, more cash in your pocket each month. It is not just about breathing easier with fewer financial strains. It's about what you can do with that extra money. Here's where it gets exciting. Take that extra cash each month and invest it. We're looking for opportunities with returns that could potentially beat out the interest rate on your mortgage. Think stocks, bonds, real estate, places where historically the returns over time outpace what you're shelling out on your mortgage interest. When you opt for a longer mortgage term, it doesn't just free up investment capital, it also gives you financial breathing room. This means you can handle life's unexpected expenses without dipping into your emergency savings or even racking up credit card debt. It's about keeping that stable and secure. Yes, there's risks. Investments can go up and down, and we need to be ready for that. But remember, It's about playing the long game. Historically, the markets have offered returns that make this strategy worthwhile over the long haul. And don't forget, mortgage interest, it's a tax deduction. That makes the cost of borrowing even less after taxes, which sweetens the deal on using that freed up cash for investments rather than funneling it all into your mortgage. Personally, right, I'm not just talking from theory. This is what I did. I went from a 15-year mortgage to a 30-year mortgage and saved about $500 a month doing so. So I took that extra $500 a month and I invested it in a portfolio, and it averaged about 6 to 8% return. Fast forward today, and that portfolio has grown into a 6-figure balance account. Have you ever considered not paying off your mortgage early to invest that money elsewhere? Well, if you have, drop a comment below. What is financial arbitrage? Financial arbitrage is all about spotting the differences in prices or rates across different markets and capitalizing on those gaps. Simply put, it's buying low in one place and selling high in another. Or in our case, right, borrowing low and investing high. Here's how it works with your mortgage. Imagine you've got a mortgage with a pretty low interest rate, say around 3% to 4%. And instead of rushing to pay off that mortgage early, you take any cash you might have and look for investment opportunities where you can earn a higher return. Yeah. Think 6%, 8%, or even more. Why does this all matter? Well, by choosing to invest rather than pay down the mortgage, you're betting on earning more from your investments than what you're paying in mortgage interest. It's like putting your money to work in the best possible way. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have $1,000 extra every month to either pay down your mortgage or invest it. Your mortgage rate's about 3.5%, but you find a solid investment yielding 7%. You see, over time, that difference, what we call a spread, adds up, potentially boosting your net worth much more than if you had just wiped out your mortgage early. The key takeaway in this is that arbitrage with your mortgage isn't about avoiding payments. It's about optimizing where each dollar goes to maximize your financial growth. Remember, it requires careful consideration of the risks and a very disciplined investment strategy. But you got to leverage what you owe to grow what you own. Let's jump into how you can leverage your mortgage to build wealth. You know, it's a strategy that can really boost your financial game if you play your cards right. And we're going to go through a step-by-step breakdown. Step 1, you got to secure a mortgage with really favorable terms. First things first is when you're getting a mortgage, you really need to look for the best overall terms possible. Look for those low interest rates and consider a longer term to keep your monthly payments manageable. This sets the stage by minimizing your borrowing costs and giving you more breathing room to invest elsewhere. The second step, analyze your financial situation. Before you make any moves, take a good hard look at your finances. Understand your cash flow, expenses, and any financial obligations you may have. This step is crucial because you need to know exactly how much you can comfortably divert into investments without stretching yourself too thin. Step 3, you want to compare your mortgage costs to your potential investment returns. Here's where it gets really exciting. Evaluate the interest rate on your mortgage versus the potential returns from various investments. If you can invest into something with a higher return than your mortgage rate, you might be onto a winner. Remember, it's all about the spread, the difference between what you can earn and what you're paying. The fourth step is to decide on an investment strategy. You see, once you see a clear benefit, it's time to choose your investment avenues. This could be stocks, bonds, real estate, or even investing into a business. What I highly recommend is consider diversifying to spread the risk. The goal is to invest in assets that not only beat your mortgage interest rate, but also align with your long-term financial goals. Step 5, implement and constantly monitor. With your strategy in place, start funneling the money you would have put towards aggressively paying down your mortgage into these investments. But hey, this isn't a set it and forget it kind of deal. Keep a close eye on your investment and the market conditions. You have to be ready to adjust as needed based on performance and other economic changes. Step 6, regularly reassess both your mortgage and your investments. Conditions change, rates fluctuate, and opportunities come and go. You need to make sure your strategy still aligns with your financial goals and adjust it accordingly. Maybe it's refinancing your mortgage to a lower rate or rebalancing your investment portfolio. You have to constantly reassess. The most important thing to take away is that leveraging your mortgage for wealth building is about making your money work harder for you. It's about smart, strategic planning and not just about paying off debt as fast as possible. Using your mortgage as a tool can unlock potential investments that can propel your financial growth to new heights. All right, it's time to keep it real and discuss the potential drawbacks too. It's not all sunshine and stock gains. There's some real risks that are involved. So I want to jump into what those are and how to manage them responsibly. The biggest risk? Well, obviously, if your investment doesn't perform as expected, you could end up earning less than the interest you're paying on your mortgage. This means not only are you not getting ahead, but you also could be sliding backwards financially. Market volatility is something to think about too. Remember, investments can be like roller coasters. Ups and downs are all a part of the game. If the market takes a nosedive, your portfolio could see some serious declines. That's a big deal if you're relying on investment returns to justify the higher mortgage interest that you're accruing. Something else to think about is the liquidity. Right? Investments are not always easy to liquidate, especially if you're invested in real estate or certain types of funds. If you suddenly need cash, you might find yourself in a tight spot if your assets are tied up. They can't be quickly or easily sold without a loss. There's also the stress factor to think about here. Remember, carrying a larger mortgage for a longer period can be a mental burden. Not everyone is comfortable with ongoing debt, even if it's a part of a strategic plan. But you can manage these risks with responsible financial planning, like having a solid emergency fund. Before you start leveraging your mortgage, make sure you have a good emergency fund. Think 6 to 12 months of living expenses. This is your financial safety net. Make sure to diversify your investments too. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversifying your investments can help manage risk by spreading it across different asset classes and markets. This way, if one investment dips, others might hold steady or even rise. And remember, you want to regularly review your financial plans. Schedule regular check-ins on your financial status and the performance of your investments. You want to be ready to pivot your strategy if things aren't working as planned. Adaptability is the key in this financial world. Something also people don't realize, know your risk tolerance, right? Be honest with yourself and how much you can handle emotionally and financially. It's different for everyone. Make sure your strategy aligns with your personal comfort level and what your financial capacity is. And most importantly, consult with a financial expert. They can provide personal advice based on your financial situation and goals. They'll also help you keep emotions out of your decision making, which is crucial for long-term success. Listen, this strategy might not be suitable for everyone, and it's super important to seek professional advice. Interested in learning more about leveraging your mortgage for financial freedom? Click the link in the description. If you found these strategies insightful, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more financial freedom tips.